Hello dear students, I would like to welcome you all on the online platform of KRT Arts, BH Commerce and AM, that is KTHM College, Nashik. I wish that you all are safe and secure during this COVID-19 pandemic situation. My name is Dr. Bharati Rajebhosale, working as an assistant professor at the Department of English. Today, in this video lecture, I would like to deal with the poem Sita by Toru. In my video lecture, I would like to talk about the poetess Toru. She is an Indian poet. She belongs to the pre-independence era. The Bengali poet translator is often considered as the first Indian poetess to write verses in French and English languages. She pioneered Indian writing and poetry in English. She was born in 1856 in rich and respectable family of Kolkata. Her rich ancestry. We know that her family is known for its aristocracy, progressive Western outlook, and literary lineage. Her father, Govind Chandra Dutt, was a good linguist and a cultured man and a government servant. He was having interest in literature. He composed many poems and so also he published his poems. Her mother, she was interested in Hindu mythology. After that, I would like to focus on the progressive Western outlook of Dutt family. Her father, he was having a lot of impact of the Western culture. So, he appointed a private tutor for his children, that is Abju, Aru and Toru. Unfortunately, Toru's brother died at the age of 14 in 1865. This shocking incident brought together two sisters in such a way that both spent a lot of time in literary studies. They read Paradise Lost repeatedly. In 1869, the family left for Europe and the girls went to French school. In London, both sisters focused on French and English languages and translated French lyrics into English verse. The family published the Dutt family album in 1870 containing 200 pieces. So we can say that from her childhood, Toru got ideal atmosphere for her literary creativity. After that, I would like to talk about the conversion to Christianity in 1862. The impact of the Western culture and the gospel of Christ impressed Dutt family and they embraced Christianity in 1862. At that time, he was just 6 years old. Conversion to Christianity was a major event in her life, though she was having a deep influence of Christianity, but she never lost her faith in Indian mythology, culture and its great tradition. After that, I would like to focus on the literary contribution of Toru Dutt. A sheaf gleaned in French fields. It is published in 1876. It contains 165 poems and mostly translated from French into English. This work, Edmund Goose reviewed this work favorably in the Examiner in 1877. Edmund Goose reviewed this work favorably in the Examiner in 1877. After that, Bianca or the Spanish Maiden, which is published in 1878. This novel is considered to be the first novel in English by an Indian woman writer. After that, Lee Journal, the Mademoiselle d'Evers, which is published in 1879. And after that, Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, published in 1882. This work is considered very important. India's glorious past is reflected in her collection of poems that is ancient ballads and legends of Hindustan. Toru Dutt searched the realms of French and English literature, and after that she concentrated on the classical language Sanskrit. As she matured, her knowledge about her own culture expanded when she started learning Sanskrit. For the first time, she felt she had feet on firm ground. Toru Dutt's love for India's glorious past is reflected in her collection of poems, that is ancient ballads and legends of Hindustan. Her Christian faith, her European stay, Western education never alienated her from India's glorious epics and mythology. In fact, her Sanskrit language learning proved fruitful for her. Indian epics and mythology is reflected in her works. Her love for the mystic past of her motherland remained supreme till the last. The Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Vishnu Puran, and the Bhagavad Puran inspired her to portray men and women of the past. Hindu myths and legend always fascinated her. As a child, she heard the stories of the great epics from the lips of her own mother. Now I would like to focus on ancient ballads and legends of Hindustan. This collection of poems includes so many poems. Savitri, Lakshman, Sindhu, Prahlad, Buttu or Eklavya, Sita and Dhruv are some poems from this collection. After that, I would like to talk about Toru Dutt's view regarding Sita. We know that Sita is the central female character of the Hindu epic Ramayana. Toru Dutt expressed her views regarding Sita when she has written a letter to her French friend Clarissa Bed. She says, "Can there be a more touching and lovable heroine than Sita? I do not think so. When I hear my mother chant in the evening the old lays of our country, I almost always weep. The plaint of Sita, when banished for a second time, she wanders alone in the vast forest. Despair and horror filling her soul is so pathetic that I believe there is no one who could hear it without shedding tears." So we know that how she is attracted towards Sita from her childhood. In her childhood, she always learnt various stories from her mother. Her mother used to tell her stories from our great epics, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata. Now, I would like to go towards the central idea of the poem. Sita is taken from Dutt's Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan. It tells the story of three happy children in a darkened room, being told the legend of Sita by their mother. So three happy children in a darkened room. So definitely we know that it's a night time and mother is telling story to her children. The mother tells the children all about the scene of Sita's abandonment, the beautiful forest full of birds, animals, and the presence of the poet and poet, that is Valmiki, who wrote the Ramayana. The children sympathize with the plight of Sita. They are so moved by her sorrow that they weep at her troubles. At last, the mother finishes the story and hugs her children and pacifies them. Now I would like to recite this poem, Sita. Three happy children in a darkened room. What do they gaze on with wide open eyes? A dense, dense forest where no sunbeam lies, and in its center, a clear spot, there bloom gigantic flowers on creepers that embrace tall trees. There, in a quiet lucid lake, the white swans glide. There, whirring from the brake, the peacock's wings. There, herds of wild deer race. There, patches gleam with yellow waving grain. There, blue sun from strange altar rises light. There, dwells in peace the poet and poet. But who is this fair lady? Not in vain she weeps, for lo, at every tear she sheds tears from three pairs of young eyes fall away. And bowed in sorrow are the three young heads. It is an old story, and the lay, which has evoked sad Sita from the past, is by a mother's son. It's hushed at last, and melts the picture from their sight away. It yet shall they dream of it until the day when shall those children by their mother's side gather in May as us at eventide. Now, I would like to discuss this poem in detail. We know that this poem is divided into three parts. The first one is the serene description of the forest. The poetess portrays sad Sita from the past in the dense forest in Valmiki's hermitage. So, the serene description of the forest is in the first part of the poem. After that, the second part focuses on the Sita's abandonment by her husband Ram. We know that how Sita is abandoned by her husband Lord Ram. And the last part of the poem, it is Toru Dutt's nostalgia for her past. The opening line of the poem makes it clear that the three children are happy and listening carefully. Story being told by their mother. The poem is an autobiographical one. We know that it is a ballad, no matter it is a ballad, but there are some elements, or we can say there are some autobiographical elements in the poem. The three children here are the poetess herself, her brother Abju, and her sister Oru. The children are immersed in the story in such a way that the scene of the forest appears before them. The forest is so dense that no sunbeam can reach there. It is full of various trees and creepers. The wildflowers are bloomed on creepers, so one can imagine the atmosphere is full of pleasantness and peace and tranquility. The narration of the poem is so effective. And the children, we know that their mother is telling them this story. The narration is so effective that the children can enjoy crystal clear lake before their mind's eye. The white swans are gliding and making typical sounds. The white swans, the peacocks and the deer, they are enjoying the beauty of nature. The peacocks are also dancing happily and enjoying the serene beauty of nature. The herds of wild deer are racing with each other. The speaker describes the scene as peaceful and tranquil, bursting with life like a swans, deers and a peacock. So one can say that the presence of birds and animals has added life into that peaceful forest. So also there are certain patches or fields full of yellow grain or crop. Valmiki's ashram or hermitage. The children can visualize the site of Valmiki's hermitage from where blue smoke rises from the holy altars. It means that certain holy rituals are going on there. As a truly romantic poet, Toru is touched by the beauty of the various aspects of nature. The use of colors have added beauty to the forest. The poem is full of picturesque images. The atmosphere of the forest is so pleasant and peaceful that the poets can spend time there in tranquility. The poet anchorite, that is Valmiki, resides there in the hermitage. After that, but who is this lady? Not in vain she weeps for lo. By asking this question, the poetess asks this question and the tone of the poem is totally changed. In the first part of the poem, we know that there is a pleasant description of the forest where Valmiki resides, but the second part of the poem focuses on the grief of Sita. But who is this fair lady? Not in vain she weeps for lo. It focuses that definitely that lady means Sita, and she is there all alone in the forest. She is weeping, she is crying. It is her second exile, we know, where her husband Lord Ram abandoned her. Her exile is full of sorrows. She is the symbol of tenderness, purity, and untold sufferings of women. The three children, they are engrossed in the story in such a way that they are also crying, they are also weeping, and they are having a lots of sympathy for Sita. Every tear of Sita changed the mood of children, and they are weeping. They bowed their heads. The tears of Sita mingling with the tears of three children, that is Toru, Aru, and Abju. So all the scene, definitely it's a very heart touching. The mother is a storyteller in the poem, we know. Her story has evoked Sita from the past, and the children are so moved by her plight. The story is having the pessimistic end. We know that the mood is totally changed. Due to the changed mood of the children, the mother finishes the story hurriedly and wants her children to forget it. Actually, it is very impossible for the children to forget all the story. Definitely they are going to remember this story, but mother is trying to console her, mother is trying to pacify her own children, because being a mother, she is not able to tolerate that her children, they are weeping, they are crying, they are very sad. So she is trying to finish her story. When shall those children by their mother's side gather in May as erst at eventide? The above lines highlight an elegiac note on the early death of Abju and Aru. The poetess, we know that she is very sad, sad due to the early death of Abju and Aru. The poem effectively evokes an unforgettable emotion. The poem shows Toru Dutt's longing to return to her splendid childhood days and her haunting association with her mother's recital of Sita's story. So also we know that there is a connection between Sita's plight and her childhood memories. We know her childhood, it is due to the death of her siblings, definitely it is full of sorrows. So she is haunted by her grief, and she is also sympathizing with Sita, we can say. So in this way, the poem Sita ends on an elegiac note. So in this way, the poem ends here. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.